So one of the most difficult feelings that we can experience when in a situation or a relationship with an avoidant, or maybe we were in a relationship with someone who is now being avoidant, is the feeling and the idea that they just don't care. And we can ask ourselves questions like, do I matter? Did anything that we experienced together matter to them? Why are they not interested anymore? And why didn't they choose me? And so I want to kind of turn this around and give you a different perspective with this and tell you that it's not that they didn't choose you, it's that they chose their go-to response. They chose their default setting, which was when things get difficult or things get intense or things become triggering for them, that they run and they leave the situation. They escape in order to regulate again, in order to feel more like themselves, because confronting difficult situations and being vulnerable feels too overwhelming for them. And this is often because of a pattern that they experienced in their childhood. It's not because you don't matter. It's not because they didn't love you even. It's not because they don't care. It's because they simply don't know how to regulate in these situations where it requires them to be vulnerable. Because being vulnerable in their childhood led them to feeling shame, led them to feeling not good enough, maybe led to embarrassment or lots of other things that were dysregulating and they didn't know how to process back then and are still carrying. So when you're in a relationship with someone who is avoidant, I think I've said this analogy before, it's the feeling of really wanting to speak to someone, really wanting to connect to someone, and not knowing why they always seem preoccupied or they always seem like they haven't got the energy or time to give you that you're asking from them, which is the bare minimum in a relationship. To be seen, to be wanted, to be acknowledged. And all of these things actually create the fundamentals that we need in order for a relationship to work, which is safety. And the reason why we try so hard to get this from someone who is likely to be avoidant and can't give us this is because we didn't experience or know what safety really felt like in our own childhood. So you can see why this is such a vicious cycle, and we go round and round and round. One triggers the other, and then that triggers the other, and then that triggers the other, and then that triggers the other, until one person stops doing what they've always done. And for you, it might be that you've been chasing something, you've been chasing connection. And that chasing is happening because on some level you believe that you have to do something in order to get love. It's a programming, it's a setting, it's your default setting. Like they have their default setting to run and escape. Yours might be to chase, to do something, to people please. And both of these ways of being are not authentic. Okay? And it's a really hard cycle to break because it means taking a risk, and for you it might mean stepping back, it might mean not doing anything, it might mean standing back and observing, because the fact is that in order for you to get safety, it has to be normal and familiar for you to experience being able to validate your own emotions and have other people validate them. Like I've said before, we're broken in relationship and we heal in relationships, so it's so important to seek out those safe relationships. And when we're constantly being triggered over and over and over again by the very thing that is keeping us in this traumatizing cycle, then it's really hard to experience what exactly we're looking for. So what I want to suggest to you is that you seek out people who you feel like, I can be myself. I can say whatever I need to say. And this person doesn't judge me, doesn't push me back, listens to me, is there for me. And you can get this in things like therapy, but you can also get it in friendship groups with people that you just trust, that you just feel like you can relax with. And also, obviously, I've got my Conscious Creators Masters Academy, which is amazing for this kind of thing because you meet lots of people who are mirroring to you this safety that helps you to heal. So like I say, it's not that they don't care or that they didn't choose you. They chose their default setting because they weren't ready or willing to choose a different response. So hopefully this can give you some comfort that it wasn't your fault that this person is the way that they are, but it also gives you the opportunity for you to see the cycle and your part in the cycle that you can take responsibility for. Because when you take responsibility for your own self, for your own healing, it breaks that chain, right? Rather than doing this, you can start doing this. Creating a circle, connection, wholeness, yeah? And it starts with you. When you start to feel whole and complete within yourself and you realize that you actually don't need that type of dynamic anymore, because actually when you start to address the things and the needs that you were chasing that actually were nothing to do with this person and more to do with your patterns, your programming, your childhood, and you release that and you start to realize that you're good enough now and that you want to have a stable, secure relationship, and that requires two people coming together to meet in the middle. Whenever we're in a situation with an avoidant, it's like, okay, these two people have to, on their own, decide to come into the middle, to be together, to experience vulnerability. But where we're with an avoidant, we're like, okay, I'm doing it, I'm here, and now I'm just waiting. Are you going to come? Are you going to come? And they come and they dip their toe in and then they go back into their cave. And it's like we always feel like we have to go and bang on the door of this person to say, are you ready yet? Are you coming over here to meet me? And then sometimes they do and sometimes they don't. And you feel like you're chasing. And it's exhausting. And really what you want to do is you want to be able to be like, look, I'm here. This is where I am if you're ready to meet me. And you give the person the choice to meet you there, and then you don't take it personally if they are still in their cave, still doing the work on themselves, still trying to figure themselves out, still choosing their default setting, right? Until they stop choosing that default setting, then they will keep putting you in the situation where you're chasing, right? So that's what we've got to do. We've got to make a decision to break that cycle. So if you would like to heal from a recent breakup, or you'd like to really break the cycle in a safe space with me and other people who are going through the same thing as you, join the Conscious Creators Masters Academy. We start again in February. It's an incredible 12 weeks of transformation from the inside out, and I'd love to see you there. And if not, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.